Hello, I am Shadan Larki, here with Awards Buzz and here with the star of I'm start over. Hello, I'm Shadan Larki and I'm here with the star of Pachinko, the brilliant Minha Kim. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, so I was lucky enough to get to talk to you for season one of the show, and I was looking back through our interview, and one of the first things that you told me was you said, I can't wait to be back on set for season two. So, what was it like to go back to obviously your colleagues in this brilliant world, but also because season two has expanded so much, did it still feel like home, or did it feel like just different enough that you were kind of going into a new world? Like, what was your experience going back?
I think both of us was the feelings that I have, and I just got the scrape off the second season because it's just like whenever I'm on the set of Pachinko, I really feels like I'm back at home. Like all the people and all the colleagues just feels very comfortable, and those people make me very confident. I don't know why, but I it feels like I'm very protected. But at the same time, like it's just starting all over the journey again. And I was curious of Sanja's and other characters' stories to begin to carry on and how they suffer and how they carry on their own stories. I was very curious about that, and I was very nervous about it as well because like starting from the first season, 7 years has passed, 14 years has passed. So I was very worried about how can I, as an actress, to convey all this timeline and all the stories of 7 years, which was not shown on the show itself. I had to contain it by myself. So I had to make my own stories and I had to make my own secret and I had to write all the diaries that I had to carry on as a Sanja. So like it feels like a little bit intense and very nervous, but at the same time, I'm just always so happy to be back on the set of Chico.
Is that one of the things you did? Did you write, you know,
Yeah. Also because like I said, 7 years has passed since the last episode of the first season. So I was just wondering. I didn't intend it to write all the diaries, but while I was preparing for the role, I was just writing down all those things, and then I was thinking, what if Sonja could, because Sonja didn't know how to write down or she doesn't know how to read. So, but what if Sonja can read and she knows how to write? What the things she could have had write it down. So I just did it every day, and then like it really helped me, I guess.
and one of the other things that you had mentioned to me in our previous interview was that the idea of playing a mother was something that was very nerve-wracking to you. And in season two, Sunda, she's a very like, she's been her children are grown, she's doing it on her own. And so she's like, not this sort of weary teenager. Like she's been through a lot. She's sort of more toughened by all these sort of different circumstances. How did you feel sort of playing the this mother and these relationships now that, as you mentioned, time has gone by and she sort of settled into the role?
Still is so difficult. Like for example, there was a scene when Teen Noah just told me that he's not going to the college anymore. And that was the scene that I thought it was the biggest obstacles when I was shooting the second season because there is no certain way, there's no right answer in terms of raising children. So whenever Noah told me, Noah is like, whenever I see Noah and he's such a like an adult. It just was heartbreaking because I just want him to be as a kid. I just want him to do everything that he wants. I just want him to just fly like a butterfly and just catch his dream. But he's just so considerate and he's just thinking of mother and his grandmother is just so I mean, I just wanted him to think about himself, but he's just considering me and grandmother. And like, whenever he says that I'm not going to the college, mom, I'm not, it's too like expensive or whatever, blah, blah, blah. It just, And I was thinking, should I comfort him? Should I be angry at him? Or should I be, what should I do? What should I do to, persuade him? So I remember I shooted that scene for like more than 6 hours, and still I couldn't find out what's right, what's the emotions for that. Like, it's just so devastating. So I remember I asked to the director, Sang Lee, I was like, hey, how is it like raising children? Like, how is it like, why is it so hard? I mean, like, how did you raise like your children? Like, and he said, there's no answer. Just, I think what you're feeling right now is the right things, like correct emotions that Sonja will have, because I mean, even after that conversation with Noah and Sanja, that I keep saying you have to go to the college, and Noah is keeps saying that I'm no, I'm not going to the college, and even though we end up the conversation, I think Sanja, on the way to her work, she would just have thought about it like whole day. I mean, so like for the especially for the second season, like it was all about motherhood, and like especially Sanja is trying to conceal all this big secret um, from the Noah. So it was really hard. Like, I mean, even though she's been raising kids for like 14 years, it's not something that she can accustom to. She's get used to it. So, like, yeah, it was the biggest challenge for me while I was preparing for the role.
And we're gonna get to the secrets in a second, but I did want to ask you because your character does age subtly throughout the course of season two. Season two spans, quite a number of years. How did sort of the hair and the makeup and that physical transformation sort of aid you in finding this character as she matures?
Well, so for the makeup, I remember we did like 2 days of testing. So like even though 14 years has passed and she's woman right now for the second season, she's not a girl anymore, but she is 30 years old. 30. I'm 30 right now and I still believe like I'm a baby, but like Sanjay,
Yeah, I
right?
this year and I feel the same way. I'm like, how did this happen? I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, oh my God, I learned so many from Sanja, but anyway, yeah, for the aging makeup, it we discussed a lot and we decided that it should be subtle, not like I mean like Sanja cannot turn to be a grandmother all of a sudden, right? So like a little bit of Frankel and a little bit like she we thought that um she must be looked a little bit tired rather than like old. So like there was a little bit of wrinkle, a little bit of gray hair, and some like how can I say that? Like a little bit of like rush of skin tone. Um yeah, and I mean like thanks to the hair makeup department, they did a great job. So all I had to study for Sonja's movement was that she has been working a lot, and it was very related to the physical movement. So because like she has been making all the ramen, kimchi, and all those like she has to carry on all those like heavy instruments, all those kind of things every morning. So I thought that she has to be a little bit like crunch and like rather than like going straight up. Because for the second season, she was a girl and she was like she walked like very straight and very fast movements. But now I thought that she has to be a little bit smaller than the first season. So yeah, I just had to move on that on my own way. So a little bit more like I just went to the market and see all the people how they move, but they move really fast, and their back has been a little bit crunched a little bit. So yeah, I tried to carry that on, but I don't know if that was conveying on the screen. But
One of the things about Pachinko that has really stays with me both in the book and the show is the immigrant story. And you mentioned your character, her language skills aren't very good. She's mocked for that in the show. How did you feel about, portraying that aspect of things and maybe your own experience and sort of this idea? I mean, it's something we can all relate to, whether we've immigrated or not, this idea of maybe being in a new place with new people or so can you talk me through that? And I just love how much sort of research you do and how deeply you think about your character. So how did you process these emotions of hers and your emotions as well?
yeah, living in total foreign country is such a hard experience, right? Even though when we were going to travel to the other countries, kind of we became a little bit nervous and very intense, especially for Sanja. She has to leave in that country and raise the kids and earn the money. She had to be brave. She just had to be brave, and I thought that Sanja, there's no other things that she has to think about. It's only the family and surviving, and she just had to do it, not thinking other things. So I remember when I was like 8 years old, I was in Germany for 3 months just for like learning English. At that time, it was so hard because at that time I couldn't speak any English or nor German. So like all I had to do is getting used to it really fast. Like I had to study and I had to study all this culture to survive, to live on. Because if not, it's just only me who's going to fail. I didn't want to feel in that way. So I remember I remember those certain emotions that I had in my own experience. So I kind of tried to give a drop of that to Sanjay as well. And hearing all the stories from my grandmother, like my grandmother didn't live in Japan, but she kind of did live in that era. So I kind of try to get a source of how to be like as a foreigner and as how I kind of try to imagine how it would be like to be the one that is not welcome but has to survive at the same time. So I think that's why the Sanja and all the family got together. They stick together even more and they care each other. So all Sanja could rely on was their family and herself. So that's why she became so strong. That if she knew that if she failed, the family will gonna collapse. So that's all the things that I had to just be in the middle of my heart while I was portraying for that.
And I mean, you mentioned all the secrets. It's such a big part of season two and also how season two ends. But how did you feel about sort of her carrying this weight? Like, how did that play into your development of the character and your performance? Because as you mentioned, like so much of what she's feeling is internal, including the weight of this. And I thought about that a lot watching the show, is how it would feel to have something like this in my life for years. So what are your thoughts on that?
It was I guess it was the key essential things that Sanja had to carry on for the whole season. Whenever I see Noah or Misasu and whenever I face Hansu, um, it's such a big thing, and I'm always like nervous, and I'm always so scared of if Noah will gonna um recognize it, and if what if Hansu has told Noah about it. I mean, it's such a big thing, and I feel very sorry for her, and it's kind of shitty, like right, like I feel it is the biggest guilt that I have for my kids, and I mean, and that's why I love the scene where Yang Jin gave Sonja a bath. I think that's this is a very symbolic scene that how much Sonja is feeling about that secret, how Sonja is feeling about the history of that between Hansu and Sonja, and how that's how big she really don't want it to be revealed. So yeah, that was the goal for raising the kids for the second season, not to be uh not to you know, not letting Noah to know the secret. So it was the main goal, but at the end of the episodes, at the end of the season, Noah finally knew that secret, and that was the point. That was the only point that Sanja finally felt she was exhausted. Now she gets to lie down, and she just closed her eyes, and just all the hopes has just vanished, and all the gold that she has to keep for a very very long time has just disappeared. So like that was the point when Sonja finally felt like I'm failed. Just I mean that's how big it was. That's how big it was a very very heavy weight that she has carried on for her whole life.
You mentioned earlier how much you've learned from Sandra. Can you talk about that a little bit? Sort of what lessons what you're gonna take with you, maybe? I'm so curious now, we're the same age. Like what wisdom can you give to me that you've learned from her, as you enter
Oh,
the decade?
I so
First,
many things, like yeah, whenever I see Sonja and whenever I portray her, I just I was always amazed by her. Like, how can she be so strong and how can she be so determined? And she knows how to protect herself, I think. Um, so in her own way, she's very um elegant, and she knows how to protect her dignity, and she knows who she are, and she knows how to stick her foot into the ground. I mean, it's not about how she was educated, but she just learned so many things from their parents, from their family, and she's very open and she's fast. So at some point, like she can be seen like she's not flexible. That's why Hansu and Sanja is always fighting. But in her own way, she's very fast, and she's always thinking. That's why I learned so many things from her. She doesn't stop thinking, and she feels stuff, and she just do everything to protect her family. Everything. She doesn't calculate these things. She just do it. And I think I mean those just and I think the fundamental elements that the reason for that um action is that she has a lot of love inside herself. So like Isaac said to her, she has so many love in her. So yeah. I mean after I had Sanjay in my life, there were a lot of moments that I really wanted to think this situation in Sanja's way. So, like in my own life, in my reality life, I just tried to follow her thought and try to have a lot of love as many as her. So, yeah, I mean, like it's really hard to explain, but yeah, the yeah the strongness that she's having, the strengths and all those kind of things. Learn so many things.
That was a beautiful answer. Are there any other pivotal like moments or things from season two or just anything that I haven't asked you about that you want to mention as we close out our time together?
Well, you know what? Like, actually, it has been like more than 1 years after we were shooting it. So, like, whenever I have these interviews, those kind of moments just pop out in my mind, and like, it was a very beautiful moment. I mean, like it's just such a great memories. And now I remember the two scenes where Isaac has died, and when Hansu taught Sanja the driving, and oh, and when Sanja and Yangjin reunited. This were the scenes I remember it was a very intense and very, very hard, difficult, but very warm scenes that I had, especially when Isak died. I remember I fall asleep because I cried so hard. I cried so much. I couldn't stop crying. And there was a scene that I kept touching him because I remember I just wanted to give him my temperature to keep him alive just for more than a second. I just I just wanted to be him alive for just for a second. And when he finally closed his eyes, it's just um, it was a very heartbreaking. It was but still Sunja had to carry on. Still, Sunja had to keep her promise to Isak. So at the backyard, she didn't even make a sound while she was crying because that was the thing. That was a role that Sunja had. So yeah, it was a very big scene and it was very intense and it was such still yet I just learned so many things from that scene as well. And then and yeah, and the other scene that I remember is that when Sonja and Hansu was driving the car. At that scene, I the reason why I love that scene is that still Sonja is a girl. She's very curious of everything, and like that was the moment when Sonja and Hansu um, rode a time machine and get back to the you know get back to the timeline they were enjoying their time and they had love and they reminded of her teenage area. So I really loved that scene. And when Sonja and Yangjin reunited, everyone on this set was very nervous and very like they were very. I mean, I really did appreciate all the people in that scene because they really helped us to um, be in that moment and be present. Because while I was like even reading the script, I cried so hard when Yang Jin and Sanjay reunited. I was like, I asked my mom, like, "Hey, mom, what if we didn't meet for like let's say 17 years, but still are you gonna recognize me? But it's 17 years." But she said
Yeah.
right away from it. Of course, it was like, but 17 years, like it's just been like very, very long year and you didn't see me like since teenage. How can you recognize me? And she said, because you're my daughter and I'm your mom. I think that was a very, very powerful answer when I was asking that question. So I was just carrying all this curiosity while I was on the way to that set. And then right after I see Yangjin um, taking off from the car and I recognize her, and then my body just without thinking, my body just ran towards her. And that was a very powerful moment. Like, um, it's not only about the sadness, it was about like, she's alive. I mean, I cannot believe that she's in front of me. And like, in Osaka and all those kind of things, all those emotions that couldn't anticipate it while I was reading the script. It was a very, very powerful moment. So yeah, I think these three scenes are the things that I remember now.
I have to ask you because I'm so nervous and I know the fans are so nervous. Have you heard anything about season three?
Not yet, but I really want it to be made. Like I'm so ready to be dig in and yeah, very curious. But I have to ask Sue. I will.
Is there hope? Should we be hopeful or
I guess so. I mean, like, please. I just yeah.
just like
Every
I've been
Yeah.
everyone. I'm like, please watch this show. I really think it's one of the most beautiful shows on all of television, but Apple in particular. I mean, they make beautiful stuff, but Pachinko is one of their best. And you're one of the reasons why the show is so good because I feel like if her character doesn't work, the show doesn't work, and you're just brilliant and a joy to get to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so grateful.
Okay, bye bye. Thank you.